Hi, I'm Emme.
And it will come as no surprise that I am James.
And welcome back to the Bestiary Monster Manual A through Z. And today, what are we concluding?
Well, we are concluding our trek through the abyss as far as the Monster Manual takes us anyway. We're going to come back to it at a later date. But for now, we look at the most powerful demons presented, at least the ones with stats. And we begin with a pretty funky customer. She's all swords, even more sexy snakiness. It's the Marilith.
This is such a nutty monster. She was designed purely for war, and it really shows in the way they've depicted her here. She's so many arms.
Look at all my swords!
And they're all doing a different thing. They seem to have a different design and a different point. She's moving them all in different directions. She's obviously skilled with all of them. She's looking at something. She's moving fast.
As opposed to a lot of the other art that we get with demons, like that is kind of focused on either just sheer power and aggression or the fact that they're just like really horrible and gross, there is an elegance and a control and energetic beauty in the art that you see here. It's very activated. It's very movement focused. I mean, even with just like that great big long snake tail, you can tell that, you know, she is moving quickly. She's focused.
She's really cool looking. I completely agree. I think this is one of the prettier demons, and we don't really see a lot of those. Much like a demon, she's still multiple pieces kind of put together, and that's, I think, what's generally horrible about a lot of demons is that they kind of just look thrown together in one giant mosh.
Yeah.
But her parts all seem to work very well, and that really plays into that. Again, she's designed for war. That's her whole purpose, and so having an elegant design is not only just beautiful, it serves a function in that everything that she can do is perfect. And oh my god, does that make her just impossible to fight.
I mean, with her purpose essentially being to lead the charge as a captain of demonic legions, just with the focus on elegant execution of violence, pretty well reflected in the stats. I mean, where do you want to start?
Let's talk about the fact that she has a 7-shot multi-attack.
Yeah, so 6 longsword attacks, and then a tail attack as well.
That's just her turn.
In one turn.
So she can hit you with every single one of those swords, and then, on top of that, she can take a reaction on every single turn, not just her own. So that trick of trying to burn her attack of opportunity and get out of her way, no can do. She will always hit you with an attack of opportunity, and she can parry.
Yeah. Now, of course, this is how these things work so well together, because so often the choice of, whether as a player or as a DM controlling a monster, like, what do you use the reaction for? Like, as the player, that's why you will occasionally try and, as you say, like, burn the reaction by provoking an attack of opportunity so that then they don't get to use it on something else. Not an option. And I haven't seen this reactive feature with any other monster. I mean, I'm sure there must be maybe like at least one other that has it, but it's such a powerful feature. Then you stack that with the parry reaction.
Yeah.
You can parry literally every attack.
And from a statistical standpoint, by the way, what we mean with parry here is it adds 5 to her AC. So her AC is already pretty dang high. Her natural armor already puts her at an 18. So she's just nuts insane to hit. And she's going to be coming at you so fast. She's resistant to magic. Just as a general rule, she's resistant to throws against magical attacks. She's resistant to most of the damage that you're going to see in magical attacks, most elemental attacks. And then you can't even hit her with a dang sword when that fails.
And of course, with that tail attack being thrown in there as well, if that succeeds, that's going to be a grapple. And then if a target is grappled, that's free damage from her every turn. Unless you manage to break out with a DC of 19 on that grapple check, which is going to be tough for even, strong characters. Yeah, you get grappled, and she's going to be delivering damage to you every turn, as well as 6 longsword attacks wherever she chooses to deliver them.
Yeah, and if she wants to come back and hit you in her tail with all those longsword attacks, she sure can. So she can just come at one person and just decimate them almost instantly. This is an insane monster. She's got true sight. She's got a pretty high passive perception. She's telepathic. I know that when James and I were initially looking at this monster, we immediately thought, oh, let's just shoot it with a whole bunch of crossbow bolts.
Yeah,
That'll be fine.
just make sure you keep your distance and just, ranged attacks, just whittle her down. She can teleport, though. She can teleport.
It's awful. She could just bounce straight up to you. This thing is insane. And the thing about this particular monster, I know we've hit this point where these guys, again, we've talked about these are people at this point. These guys have individual goals and purposes. She's got a high enough charisma and a high enough intelligence and a high enough wisdom that she could absolutely carry on a conversation with you. I don't know that she wants to. She's not designed for that. Her purpose is not to talk to you or try and tempt you or try and sneak your wealth out of you. No, she's there to kill you. If you see one of these things, it's bad. She's got an army probably behind her.
Yeah, chop her into little bits. I mean, the one of very few scenarios I can think of in which you are going to be talking with this thing and not just being cut to ribbons by it is maybe there's a bit of an intrigue, a bit of a plot going on between sort of these higher ranking demons trying to vie for power between each other and the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing, and you make a very temporary, very flimsy alliance with one of these things. Maybe. And then end up getting betrayed anyway. It tends to be how it goes.
With demons? Yeah, it sure do. And then...
I'll tell you one thing you're almost never going to talk to or make an alliance with.
No, certainly not. Next, we're looking at the Balor, who really doesn't want to talk to you.
No, just the personification of rage and fury and elemental destruction, and looking at the art and even really the entire monster, we can't do so without acknowledging the obvious inspiration from Tolkien with the Balrog. And honestly, who can blame anybody for having read The Lord of the Rings or later on seen the films and thought, I want that in my property in one form or another? It's awesome.
Honestly, I think I would have been disappointed. Something like this wasn't in D&D.
Yeah.
With the clear homages to Tolkien, it would have been wrong, I think, to not do it. And if you look at this guy, it really does show with the lightning sword, the fire whip, the fire oozing out of his orifices. He looks like, and it does play this way in his stats as well, but the fire is literally oozing out of him.
Contained within him sort of thing.
Yeah, he's white hot on the inside. And then he's decorated. He's huge, so these fancy skulls on his belt and on his knees and everywhere. Imagine the things he killed to get those skulls. They're also quite big.
Yeah. Even just being near this guy causes you damage. If you're within 5 feet, you take 3d6 fire damage. There's no save. There's no, resistance. If you're wearing something flammable, it catches fire. Even if you just hit it, you take that as well.
Yeah.
And it's got its longsword attacks. It's got its whip. It can also teleport. So... if you're thinking, okay, well, if I'm within 5 feet of it, I'm taking damage, I'm just going to make sure that, again, I stand off and make sure to keep my distance. Nope, because it can just go pop, and it's next to you.
And its fly speed is 80 feet. I know we were talking earlier about how fly speed is usually faster than walk speed, but not 80 feet fast. Oh my god, you can't get away from this thing.
I mean, at that point, obviously, with the inspiration of something like a Balrog, this is going to be high-level play only. And even then, high-level characters may be more sensible to run from something like this than to try and duke it out in a fight.
Yeah, this is a straight challenge rating 19.
I mean, there's a reason the line was "Fly, you fools."
Yes. GTFO, if the big high-level wizard says run... Run.
Because even then, if you do kill it,
it's just gonna come back. attack. It's just another demon. Oh, and then that's right. Oh, it's giant nuclear explosion. We haven't even touched on the giant nuclear explosion that it does. So because this guy is a demon, the thing that immediately comes to my brain is that if this has made its way at leading an army onto the material plane, it will not die here. And it is very intelligent and very smart. It's got an intelligence 20, so it will know this. When it dies, it explodes into a giant ball of flame. So I'm thinking if you just charge into the middle of your enemy's army and just hang out there, you're gonna destroy them almost certainly, because when you die...
Yep, and that's a DC 20 dex save with 20d6 fire damage tacked onto it if you fail, and half as much if you succeed.
I feel like I can hear the sound of all of those rolling behind the DM screen. Just... all the D6s, and you just hear that sound, and you're like, oh, no.
It's just imagine the scenario. It's probably been a thing that's taken up your entire session, and you whittle it down, and then there's okay, you've slain the Balor, and the group is just yeah, we did it. And then it's right, can everybody roll a dex save for me, and I'm going to need everybody's D6s.
Oh, and then you have to pass them over to the DM. He's hiding your own fate. No, he's awful. And while he is intelligent and wise and charismatic enough to talk, this guy's a general. He's not really there to chat with you. Yeah,
and it's just the condensed version of just the hatred and the rage that fuels the chaos of the abyss, that urge to destroy all things. And pretty handy-dandy at doing it.
Yeah, even in death.
And speaking of destroying things, last and most definitely not least on our list for the time being is, imagine if you took a Minotaur and sort of sprinkled some demon dust on it, and you'd get the Goristro.
This guy right here, I happen to have one hanging around. He's, our particular guy's kind of leaning, but I always kind of admired that because it really, for me, feels like what he does. He leans in and he charges. And
this creature does one thing.
And if you look at him here in the art, it really does show this guy's a giant siege ram.
Yeah.
If you look at it with the way the horns, they're pointed outwards. He's coming towards you to hit you really hard. He's got these spines all along the top of his head and the back of his neck and chest because he's leaning forward. He's going to come and hit you from the front, and that's exactly what they're designed to do.
Yeah, even in the way just the skeletal and muscular structures are comprised in this artwork. Its neck is permanently sort of leant forward like that, so it's just designed as an enormous shock absorber, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
There's bands around sort of would you call that a beard? Those kind of braided hairs hanging down around the chin.
I wouldn't know what else to call them, but
I guess.
It's not, he doesn't really have the intelligence to grow a beard, God bless him, but these guys are usually kept by other demons, so these decorations that are kept upon him, the gold bands around his arms, around his beard, through his nose, were almost certainly placed there by the demon lord this guy serves.
Yeah, so they're almost like a mark of prestige for whatever greater demon than this keeps it in its repertoire. And when it's not being shown off as a trophy, it is a siege weapon. It is a living demolition piece of equipment.
Yeah, all of its abilities are built that way. It's got a charge, so if it moves at least 15 feet straight forward, it does an extra 7d10 piercing damage
to its gore attack, which is already 7d10 plus 7.
Good lord. And it's a siege monster. It deals double damage to it's objects and structures, so it's really designed to hit against a wall. It's got you're not going to be able to hide from this thing. No. It's going to break through whatever wall you're behind. And it's got labyrinthine recall, so it remembers where it's been. So if you put it in a series of buildings, it's going to be able to find its target and always come straight for that. It's got a very specific design. We've got resistance to magic throws and magic saving throws and things like that. So whatever you're throwing at this guy, it's just going to bounce straight off of him. And like you were saying, these guys are often kept not always just as siege weapons, though.
Yeah, I mean, they're marks of pride, they're marks of, I mean, not honor as such, but prestige and, yeah, the ability to sort of show, look how powerful a thing I can dominate.
And it will just carry me around, and happily. You'll often see these carrying the palanquins of demon lords and things like that, because they're just hanging around with them. So they're again, we've hit kind of a bounce back though with this, where this guy, he's a beast. He's not intelligent like a lot of these higher level demons.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, yeah, these are like the one exception in this higher level of demon, because the others, yeah, all smart enough, even going down a couple of types, like as low as the Glabrazu, where we first started talking about, yeah, these guys are going to have personalities and goals of their own. This thing is just, it's big and dumb and strong.
Yeah, and it's happy to be there, it's well fed, and it does exactly what it's designed to do.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Bestiary for our final part 4 of our entry on demons. If you haven't already, please go back and check out parts 1, 2, and 3, and then you can let us know in the comments, what's your overall favourite now that we've gone over all of the demons in the Monster Manual? Give us a like, subscribe, we would love to grow the pack and have you as a member, and obviously hit the bell to be notified of when we release other videos. You can click here to see other videos that we've put out and let us know what you think there. And join us next time where we start to investigate the devils.